Recently, I was asked a question that I think deserves to be preserved in video format. The person asking this question is known as K-Kilo34. This video will deal with this question as well as my message to black parents regarding the conflicts I see within the supposed black community. In your opinion, who is more responsible for the problems in the black community, blacks or whites? Again, he asked, in your opinion, who is more responsible for the problems in the black community, blacks or whites? This is a loaded question. It functions like a loaded weapon. This question has a questionable presupposition. It is presuming that I would have a worldview that does not conform to the complexities of reality. It presupposes that I merely see things in black and white. This question presupposes that I either see whites as more responsible for the problems in the black community or blacks. We all live in a world together. The demands of the marketplace, laws, social contracts, belief systems, and composition of the nation via immigration, colonization, and slavery has brought the majority of the people to America and has solidified our presence. Therefore, in many cases, what affects one group will affect another. We all know that poor decision-making affects everyone. So, self-destructive behavior made by whites against blacks, blacks against whites, blacks against blacks, and whites against whites is the infamous responsible who. If we look at the micro or the macro aspects of the situation, this fact will not alter. Look, oppressive laws made by the fat cats, no matter their ethnicity, being forced to pay for the mistakes of Wall Street by functioning as human wallets, functioning in a system that strips money away from people that earn it, enslavement by rule of compound interest, attitudes still secretly harbored regarding the validity of the rule by divine right and the rule by chattel ownership of our bodies is what is more responsible. Who knows what K-Kilo34 means when he states problems in the black community? This is much too broad of a question. Also, I think we can make the valid and realistic observation that by K-Kilo34 asking this loaded question, he appears to be wanting to attack the origin of a belief, my opinion, rather than its substance. Why a person believes. Opinion on who is supposedly at fault. That's the belief. Why a person believes something is not relevant to the belief's legitimacy, soundness, or validity. I am not going to engage in that go-around with him or anyone else. I am not going to merely isolate these factors, nor is it valid to do so. Why present such a bogus question? What agenda lies behind it? It is my position that it is best to be as honest as one can and to conform to reality or truth as you understand it without purposefully using indifference towards a facet of humanity due to selfish investment. Taking K-Kilo34's bait here is an exercise in futility. When dealing with a specific problem in the Black community, it is best to attack one issue at a time, assigning cause or blame. Only matters if this information will help to make things better by providing truth. Truth that will hopefully lead not to division, as it appears he is striving for, my opinion, but correction of very real problems. What appears to be a simple question with no malicious intent is anything but. This action of K Kilo 34 shows an epidemic found on YouTube and in the world, where assessing blame for the sake of group identity politics or assessing blame for some feel-good fest that allows elevation of ego, or subscribing to further division with the us versus them dynamic is the real culprit. It is one of the actions that flames the fires of racism. It is my opinion this is as damaging as the acts of racism, whether committed by blacks, Asians, Native Americans, etc. It keeps our minds enslaved by old paradigms. This battleground lies with our thinking process and its implementation. One cannot fight the good fight if they are in any way working against their goal. We are all involved in this conflict, unconsciously or consciously, but this is not license. This does not provide license for the demonization of a group and race baiting. The obvious physical altercations, conflicts, and pathologies on our planet, seen in news reports and YouTube videos, are but the outer boundary of a material layer. It betrays knowledge of much deeper causes rooted in the accumulative energy interplay, patterns, and distortions of our daily behavior. When our feelings and thoughts are constantly repeated over and over and over and over again without any particular change in content or mental growth, the refinement, the reinforcement of these thought forms gel and solidify, filling and dominating the energy of us and making it exceedingly problematic and difficult for a change in behavior, attitude, or thought to take place. Many people do not want to acknowledge the positive aspects of certain groups because it does not serve their agenda to do so. This does not mean there is nothing positive to report. We will come together at a later date to talk about the things we as individuals within the Black community are doing right. During this talk, let's not be afraid and assess specific issues of concern. Let's talk about a small portion of the problems I directly see. These challenges are created directly by the people we are speaking about, not just my human family or fellow American community at large, but problems within my Black community, which I am a member of all three. We have to battle parental neglect. There is an alarming growth of bearers of children that are not dealing with the associations of their children, not knowing what their child does, not interacting in positive and meaningful ways within the child's life, leaving the TV to act as a companion and letting video games act as a sedative. Our children rely on you to instruct them on what is required to be a decent, critically thinking, responsible human being. Black parents, you must discourage the idea of entitlement within your own mind. I encourage you not to allow within your household the idea of entitlement to dwell in their minds, your children. Root it out. If our children carry this into the world, they will be slaves to belief systems that will harm all humanity. Parents, invest time in getting to know your children. Understand their behaviors and attitudes and stress that they must get to know themselves and not accept another's definition for them. Don't make this into a race thing. Make this into understanding what they are about. Make it an individual thing. In this demanding world that has so many problems, it is essential you stress the importance of the gradual process of acquiring knowledge and implementing that knowledge. Pandering to the idea of stardom, quick fix, some American Idol, and gluttonous pursuit of fame is only a waste of time, especially if the child has shown no promise in this arena and will create issues if they continue down this path that will not be silent as they age. Men, stop being sperm donors or organic wallets, assuming you have financial resources to begin with, instead of fathers. Being a father requires work, investment in your child, showing of love, the providing of proper disciplinary tactics, leadership by example and consistency. Do it, or at least invest in an operational procedure that will render you unable of impregnating another. Lackadaisical attitudes towards birthing children in this world has to stop. We have women who will indiscriminately open their legs and bitch and moan later. The bitch fest is primarily because of abandonment and lack of financial help. We have men who inseminate women without a thought to the responsibility of making a life, who then bitch and moan about child support and having to alter their schedule to participate in their child's life, their creation. Both the man and the woman do not examine the realities of the current human condition. World economic meltdowns, people. The suffering mankind is enduring within America due to the corporate oligarchy and the increasing presence of fascism. No, they are preoccupied with only the moment, the now, and the pleasure they can leech off the other person. The man is no more than an organic vibrator, and the woman no more than a voluntary sperm bucket. Is that plain for you? We cannot continue in these thought forms, in these actions. We are killing ourselves when we do this. Do you get that? We have control to eradicate certain issues. We have control to express ourselves differently to each other and the world. Have you considered that your actions have become programmed behavior? Whether this programming comes from external or internal sources is not the issue here. What matters is that you identify these patterns and work against them. Stop being absorbed with visiting the playground of the least variable of resistance and graduate to self-reliance. Do not be a slave to self-destructive behavior or those who magnify negative energies for the sake of hastening you to your demise. Again, do not be a slave to self-destructive behavior or to those who magnify negative energies for the sake of hastening you to your demise. Whether this is a member of your group or not, do not be afraid to investigate truth claims and dismember belief systems that no longer work for you, but act to enslave you. Thank you for your time.